Zero, you're the hardware guy. You're the tech guy. So I think you should go ahead and discuss this next topic.
Oh boy. So we had something happen that has never happened in the hardware space. And if it has happened, it's been a very long damn time. So last week, I believe it was either on Thursday or Friday, Nvidia put out a giant PR blast saying, hey, we are unlaunching the GeForce RTX 4080 12 gigabyte. And no, you're not hearing things. I said what I said. Nvidia announced that they're unlaunching a graphics card. And this was just baffling for me because just when Nvidia made the initial announcement on the new graphics cards, the 4090, the 4080 16 gig, and then the 4080 12 gig, I was kind of scratching my head on the 12 gig announcement. I was just like, wait, really? Why are we announcing two versions of a 4080 card? Just, this sounds like this would have been a product that would have easily slotted into the, I don't know, the 4070 branding, because clearly the clock speed and the internals are not as good as the 4080 16 gig, but yet you guys are still shoehorning it under the family of the 4080. This is just weird. Why? Just, you should be calling this a 4070, or I don't know, maybe it's better than a 3070 to a significant degree, and maybe you guys should be calling it the 4070 Ti. I don't know, just it kind of rubbed me the wrong way during the initial announcement, and many other hardware tech journalists in this space were also kind of feeling this as well too. Our personal favorite, Steve Burke of Gamers Nexus, commented on this exact thing, going, yeah, Nvidia, what are you doing? Why are you trying to sell two versions of a 4080 card, but clearly one is significantly less powerful than the other? And it's not just from how much VRAM is on the card, but clock speeds and other stuff. So just everyone was just kind of scratching their heads going, okay, Nvidia, whatever. I guess you're going to do what you're going to do. And then just suddenly we had this announcement saying, oh yeah, we're going to be unlaunching the 4080 12 gig. The card specs have gone out to all of our producers, but unfortunately, we know that many of our partner producers have been printing boxes and marketing materials for the 4080 12 gig. So to them, we will be recompensating them for all or some of their marketing materials costs. So things like any boxes that companies have had to throw in the garbage because of this announcement, Nvidia's gonna actually do something nice and pay for part or all of just any paper product that they've had to just chuck out the door because of this unlaunching announcement.
Yeah.
And in addition to this, Nvidia did announce that they would be going back to the drawing board on what to call this card. So we'll be getting some sort of launch announcement on what this card will be formally called later down the road. But as far as when, Nvidia really didn't commit to a date. So that's where things kind of get a little bit vague from there on.
Was this a case of Nvidia looking at the sales numbers and going, no one's buying this card, and them, I guess, scrambling to say, oh, we need to do something, and their thought process was, let's just cancel it. Is that what this was, or what was this exactly? What do you think?
Well, to clarify, the cards have not officially gone on sale yet. Just all of your ODMs, they were producing the cards and had the marketing materials like the boxes and stuff ready to go. So, but yeah, I think the concern was, at least on Nvidia's part, shit. So you got a whole bunch of retailers, some who are very angry that they are stuck with a lot of 30 series cards in their inventory. And especially like if you had a gaming shop who had docked real hard on something like a 3080 or 3070 and have just been sort of overloaded with them. Yeah, just if you were putting like a 4070 on the shelf, and turns out that the benchmarks are just a little better than maybe a 3080 or 3070, I would imagine most buyers are just going to say, "Oh, it's just literally a 5% bump in performance, but this card costs several $100s more than the old cards. Fuck that, I'm buying the old card. No point in buying the new card right now, because if I'm not getting a giant leap in my performance, there's no point in making that kind of an upgrade." So I think Nvidia was trying to play this 4080 12 gig card as a completely different thing, saying no, it's not a 4070. It's not. It's just as good as the 4080 16 gig, guys. Even though, again, just with all the specs on paper, it clearly wasn't.
Yeah.
So this may have been their way to try to get people to, buy the 12 gig card if they couldn't afford the 16 gig card. So I think that's where Nvidia was trying to go with this. But I imagine just when you had a lot of tech journalists sort of dismantling the specs on paper and going, yeah, just this 12 gig card clearly isn't in the same sort of pedigree and performance as the 16 gig card. Why is Nvidia being real flaky and cagey about this? Mm-hmm. I think ultimately that's what sort of got Nvidia thinking, okay, shit, the jig is up. We got to come clean and fess up that we got to rename this card. So I imagine that's probably what happened, and that's why they went through with this announcement saying, hey, so we're going to unannounce that card, and we're going to rename it something, and we'll talk to you later when we got a name.
So this is poor marketing, or what was this exactly? Like,
I think it's, in my opinion, I think it was one, poor marketing, and two, maybe a little touch of corporate greed, especially because, Nvidia has generally a kind of had a glut of old graphic cards come up on the market ever since the whole Ethereum merge, where Ethereum for cryptocurrency doesn't use proof of work anymore. So people with gigantic GPU farms just started selling the hell out of all their stuff. So cheap graphic cards are on the market. And then, of course, now you've got a whole bunch of retailers who put in probably massive orders saying, hey, we're expecting gamers to be really fucking excited to get their hands on a brand new 30 series card with a full warranty on it and everything, and it's going to be great. Oh shit, crypto market just exploded, and now we've got a whole bunch of people pawning off their mining cards for a better deal than what we're stuck with. Shit. And of course, retailers are in a bind because they're just like, well, do we try to return these to the vendor and basically tell EVGA, Nvidia, and some of the other companies, yo, take these back and give us a refund? Or is there going to be a potential for these device makers to laugh in our faces and go, haha, no refunds, suck it? So, yeah, I think that's also part of another reason that just Nvidia kind of saw the market bubbling in a way that they didn't expect it to be. So they're just like, oh shit, okay, yeah, if we get these cards in actual gamers' hands who will actually call us on our bullshit because they can run stuff like 3D Mark and go, hey, this is nowhere near close to the performance that they were marketing on their little PR event that they did, just that it would probably end up with some potential backlash, and of course just potentially some of these gamers go, okay, well, if this card isn't clearly pulling in the numbers that it's pulling, maybe I'll go with something from AMD instead, like one of their new Radeon RX 7000 series that comes out in November or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just this one was just a weird situation to see, and I think this is the first time I've ever seen a piece of gaming hardware get unlaunched ever. And it's just one of the strangest things to have happened, and it's kind of interesting to see that it actually happened during my lifetime. But yeah just I'll be real curious to see where Nvidia decides to go with this card, because clearly they designed the card, they designed the spec, and it looks like it's still going into production, but they're going to have to figure out a name, because if they don't have a name, you've got a whole bunch of graphic card producers who are probably sitting on inventory waiting to be reflashed so that the BIOS on the video card shows the new name instead of RTX 4080 12 gig. So you've got that, and then also just all the printed and box material that has to go with these cards. So yeah, I'll be real curious to see where Nvidia goes with this, if they go with the name 4070 or if they decide to rejigger the name around and go, hey, look, guys, this is a 4060. Hey!
Thank you for listening to this podcast segment. The Capital Games podcast is done every week, and we post it on all your favorite podcast apps, as well as segments on YouTube. If you want to listen to another segment, you can listen to a new one right there on the screen. We also do a movie podcast called the Capital Games Movie Club. If you'd like, you can go ahead and click on that and see all the movies that we have reviewed from that point. Thank you for listening, and we hope to hear from you soon.